Welcome to the podcast, Truck Hauling Talks. I'm John Jackson. The goal of this podcast is to bring you thoughtful discussions, interesting points of views, insights, and valuable information that you can apply to your trucking operation. The podcast is dedicated to exploring the most pressing transportation challenges from development and start to implementation. Truck Hauling Talks believes that transportation is an essential part of our daily lives and is passionate about finding ways to make it more sustainable, efficient, and profitable for drivers and small businesses. Thank you for listening to Truck Hauling Talks. Now here's this week's podcast. All right, here we go. Hello everyone who is tuning in to this podcast. This is John with Truck Hauling Talks, and I'm here with Chanel from Wisdom and Authority Title Solutions. You can find her on YouTube. She has a channel. Now, Chanel, do you work with drivers checking over paperwork, fixing some things that you may catch, even though they may have their paperwork in?
So we no longer offer that service unless it's pertaining to the title. So we do the vehicle title aspect, and sometimes, depending on the scenario, we'll talk about the plates as it pertains to the registration side. But that's the information that we'll render. But we do get little tidbits and nuggets pertaining to the other aspects of compliance. Yeah, because that can also bounce off of your plate. So, we'll give you a little bit more insight, but because every situation is different, it really depends on what you're hauling and the states in question as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. I'm here with Chanel. She's out here to help. She's helping us do what we need to do to stay on the road. Did you have any questions?
No, but it's just a thing where, again, I can't stress enough, and I think I said this in the last segment. Don't really focus on what your friend or someone you know is telling you about trucking. You really have to zoom into what it is you're doing, what it is you're hauling, the weight. That's really one of the things, not only trucking, but the transportation industry.
Okay.
You really have to think about what your situation calls for.
Okay.
Because one person may be different from the next when it comes to this industry. Whether it's weight, whether it's the lanes you're going through, the goods, you really got to keep those things in mind. And once you have that in front of you, then you will really know what it is you need to do from there.
Okay. I had a question for you. Agriculture, hauling animals or hauling food. I mean, like the big machines, I guess, that the hay or things of that nature. How does that work as far as registration? What do they fall under? What are their guidelines? Is it different?
So if it's pertaining to, you got the trailers, like let's say you might be driving on the road and you see, you got some pigs or whatever, different things of that nature. The trailers is just weight, weight based. And then if you got the equipment side, it really depends on that state. Some states do not register tractors, or they may not need plates for farm use.
Okay.
So it really depends on the type of livestock that you're having and whatnot pertaining to farming. If it's something on the lines of grains and hay and things of that nature, same thing. You're going to be asked what are you hauling.
Okay.
And then based on your state, that's another thing I want to stress as well. Your state has those regulations that you must comply with, and that also ties into DOT as well.
Okay.
Because some states do not allow certain things, or even with plates, you may have to have plates for this type of hauling. Some may not, depending on the weight and depending on what is being transported.
Okay. Dump trucks, do they have I would figure you're not sure of how much weight you're going to have dealing with it, because you have the smaller dump trucks. I know about the semi-dump trucks, they're going to get to 80,000 pounds. We know that, but the smaller ones?
They still go through the same compliance as any other, but the difference with them is the local haul. So a lot of times they may fall under intrastate authority because they're local hauling or transporting local items, if you will. The license plates, I would say too, depending on again where you're hauling, they may not need apportioned plates, so they might just need plates that are intrastate related.
Okay, so that's a saving for the company or the owner operator there. So okay.
Yeah. So, with this industry, I mean, and you mentioned dump trucks, but it's very vast. I mean, so many options out there. But whatever route you choose to go, just keep that word compliance in mind. And when we're doing titles with my company, and we have commercial drivers or businesses, if you will, we have to ask you guys about weight. We have to ask you what you're hauling, the type of body for that vehicle as well. Is it a tractor truck? Is it a straight truck, box truck, heavy duty truck, or what have you? So these are the questions that are asked, and you have to be very specific as it can affect your operation status.
Can you go into a little detail of what it is that your company specializes in with the driver? We talked about the registration and body type of the vehicle. Is it something that as a driver we don't know? Well, can you explain to us a little bit more in depth the areas you can help us with?
So the areas that I help specifically is going to be the titles.
Okay.
So when it comes to truckers in particular, getting your vehicles titled and registered, that title is going to be the starting point. Okay. I did share in the last segment the body type is very critical, and that weight. So as an example, and a lot of you don't think about this, but if that title is wrong, you will think about it. So you got different body classifications. You got a pickup truck versus a heavy duty truck.
Right.
Okay. F-150 is not going to be tight or keyed the same as a Ford 350 or Ford 450. Okay. Two different things. Then you have a tractor. Okay. A tractor could be a farm vehicle. Okay. Of course. And then you have a tractor truck. Tractor truck is pertaining to a semi, an 18-wheeler. Okay. You got a box truck. You got the dump truck. Dually, which would be a F450. All of these things, and DMV, I don't want to put y'all in overload because it's me from having worked at DMV and having a title business. I understand the DMV lingo, so I don't want to bore y'all with it.
Well, I tell you what, we can always go back.
Are important. They're important when it comes to the body type.
Right.
If you get your next vehicle, look at your title and see whether it's personal or whether it's business, and see what that body type is for your vehicle. Every state have different codes that they use to title the body type of your vehicle, and that really makes a difference based on what you can transport, and it also ties into the weight that is permitted for that particular vehicle, which also determines the type of plate that you can have for that particular type of vehicle. Okay. So these factors are really essential.
Okay. I was looking on the internet and I saw where someone had a tractor trailer, but they had not for hire. Does that still fall into the same guidelines as someone who's a commercial operator, owner operator?
It does. So you have some carriers that can be private haulers, meaning they are transporting their own goods, if you will, their own equipment.
Right.
So you don't have to be for hire. We actually title trucks for a company that is water pumping. So the equipment and things of that nature that they're hauling is not for anyone else, it's their equipment. So they're not for hire, but instead they're private. So that's another thing to be on the lookout for if you're going to get in this industry. Are you hauling your own items or you're going to be hauling for hire? For hire means basically you're hauling or transporting goods or people for someone else for compensation.
So they still fall under the same DOT regulations. Okay. Okay. Just thinking about somebody going down the road and they're like, hey, this is mine. Yeah, but you still have to fall under the same standards.
You do, yeah.
So that's good information to know. Now, what about the recreational vehicles with the RVs?
So RVs, for the most part, that's going to be a different animal. That's not really going to be in the commercial aspect per se. They're in a totally different bracket.
What about the
RVs and motor homes?
Okay.
Yeah, for the most part, because it's really for passengers. I mean, you will see an RV that will haul, let's say, a car or a pickup truck, maybe. But for the most part, they have living quarters, and this passenger base, so that's a totally different animal.
Okay. Well, let's go a little deeper in that. What about the tour buses?
So tour buses, if they're going to be interstate, then or even local, they still got to comply with DOT as well. And a lot of times, or should I say DOT at the federal level, but also when it comes to that transporting, they still may need interstate authority as well. If you're going to be transporting passengers, a lot of times you're going to be looking at intrastate authority, meaning you have to follow the regulations within your state or within your locality. Because they also have, aside from DOT at the federal level, they also have their restrictions in place that you must comply with.
Okay. Yeah, because there are a lot of artists in Nashville, and they will head out all over the country, over the weekends and head back home or, to other cities. I just wanted to know if they fall under the same type of guidelines with the vehicle and title situation. We talked about the various body type last week, talked a little bit about it this week. We talked about making sure you know what it is you're going to be hauling and making sure you're compliant and you stay in compliance this week. Is there something that you would like to share with the drivers we didn't? Well, I tell you what. We'll save it for next week. What we'll do is we'll end it here. Thank you for tuning in to John with Truck Hauling Talks. I'm here with Chanel with Wisdom and Authority Title Solutions. Tune in again next week for another segment where we will be going over various things that you need to do as a driver looking to go into the owner-operator field or a small company that you may have purchased or looking to expand and scale your business. Thank you again for tuning in to Truck Hauling Talks.
All right. Thank you.
And be safe, drivers. We will see you next week. Take care. Truck Hauling Talks can't make this podcast a success alone. You'll be joining a transportation community who share the same dedication to this important topic. Not only will you hear about the latest videos when you subscribe, but you'll also have the opportunity to engage with Truck Hauling Talks and other subscribers in the comments section. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and explore the world of transportation with us. Be safe, driver.